Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernie are kicking off the late pick 4 at Santa Anita on Friday, June the 1st with the DRF Bets Race of the Day. It's race number 5. We're going 1 1/8 on the turf. You can bet it with your new DRF Bets account, and you can also join the Belmont Stakes action with free cash. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Let's take a look at this field of fillies and mares comprising race number 5, the first leg of the late pick 4 at the Great Race Place. You can download free Formulator past performances for the race of the day. Where else? The race of the day event page at drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, and the number 1 Demi Goddess, Matt. Oof. 1 for 51. They got a check last time out of her. At the entry-level condition on dirt. She's 0 for 15 on turf. She's tough to recommend.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not a heck of a lot to say about her. I mean, I suppose, again, if you want to just try to get crazy and include her underneath in some sort of a try or a super, go right ahead. I wouldn't bet her with your money.
The Timeform Pace Projector has some nice things to say, I guess, about Demi Goddess, and that she's on the lead, although I think if I was a trainer that followed the Pace Projector, I'm not sure how many do, I'd be the one sitting second of Demi Goddess, hoping to inherit at some point, and that's the 5 and the 3. We'll get to them in a little bit. Let's talk about India Montuana, because maybe India Montuana can be a little bit more forwardly placed than where Timeform US has her. She is stretching out off a couple of sprints. She did some good work early in her career. She's just seemed to have kind of found her niche as an 80 buyer type, and I'm not sure that's good enough to win this race. She does have the great Phil D'Amato in her corner.
I think that's the tough thing with her. I just don't know that even at her best, she's fast enough to win. But I agree with you as far as the pace is concerned, because you see, you've got those 2 sprints, but I'm even more intrigued by the most recent one going down the hill. She wasn't that far off what was a pretty honest pace, and I kind of feel like just naturally with that stretch out in distance, I can't imagine her sitting 3-4 lengths off of it. I think she's going to be right there, if maybe not outright on the lead, but I think she's going to be pushing early.
I would go. I mean, you go back to her last win. We have to go back way back to January of 2017. Yeah. She went gate to wire, and that was her game before she was privately purchased. I wouldn't worry about the horse down on the rail. It's 1 for 50. I'd go to the top and hope that I could set a reasonable pace and keep on going. Jim Cassidy, of course, had the big weekend on Saturday, winning the Gamely with Miss Sophia. He's got the 3 and the 4 in here. Priced to Perfection is a horse that was a graded stakes winner way back in 2016, and ever since then she just has regressed. She hasn't gotten to where she needs to be. Several barn changes, now blinkers on, stretching out in distance. This is a worrisome formulator fact for me concerning a good trainer in Cassidy. For the past 5 years, older horses on turf adding blinkers, 0 for 25. It's almost as if the barn's just throwing their hands up and saying, we've got to do something to wake her up.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to make it as simple as this, but you brought it up. She was a graded stakes winner back in January of 2016. She hasn't won a race since, and she really hasn't even been all that competitive. So I kind of think you're just at the point now where you're saying, let's try something and hope that it wakes her up, because based on what she's done recently, I don't think she actually has a very good chance. But I will say, that last run at Laurel back in September of last year, that buyer at least puts her in there with a puncher's chance. I don't think she's a live candidate, but I think she can maybe get a piece.
And she has taken on solid competition in the past. Horses like Fault and On Leave and My Impression and Catch a Glimpse, but she just hasn't won in a while. Cassidy has the 4 Amboselli, and talk about a horse that really kind of overperformed in some tough spots. Amboselli was 3rd in the Yellow Ribbon, was 4th, beaten less than a length in the Grade 1 Rodeo Drive. She was big prices in all those races, and she's going to be a much shorter price as she drops in class. We also haven't seen her since September, and here's another worrisome Cassidy formulator fact. Past 5 years, older turf routers off a layoff of 6 months or greater, 0 for 28. She certainly has the ability to win this race. Do you think she'll be ready off the bench?
Based on that formulator fact, no. I mean, it's hard for me to sit there and say otherwise. I suppose the thing, if you like her, you are banking on the fact that she's getting tremendous class relief, and also from a figure standpoint, she is certainly the fastest horse in the race. The problem is, to me, these are generally horses. It's one thing if I'm playing her in a race like the Rodeo Drive or the John C. Maybe or the Yellow Ribbon, where she's going to be 15, 20 to 1. When she's arguably one of the choices in a spot like this, I don't care how good she looks on paper from a numbers standpoint. I'm always going to be inclined to try to beat a horse like this.
I think that's a very, very fair point. You could argue she's the horse to beat over what she's done against better horses and from a figure standpoint, but off a layoff at a depressed price, you might want to try to beat her. Finesse Beret is a 3-year-old taking on older horses for the first time for Bob Baffert, and while she started her career in fine form in France, her form in North America, albeit against stakes competition, really lacks a lot of oomph.
Yeah, it does. She's run into a couple of good girls on turf, though. Miss Bad Behavior, we know what she's capable of. Out of the Flames is a nice sort of sprinter. To me, I look at it, when they went to the Santa Anita Oaks with her, to me, that was just nothing more than take a stab and hope that you can get a piece, because if Baffert had thought she was a dirt horse all along, he would have started her on the dirt. Baffert's not really one to run many turf horses. I just don't think this girl's good enough, plain and simple.
Boy, the 6 Basilica has been in razor-sharp form for Jerry Hollendorfer. This horse has now won 4 out of her last 5 races, is a neck away from bringing a 5-race winning streak to this party, and her Beyer's speed figures really hold up well against the rest of this field. Add in her tactical speed and the fact that she might be sitting 2nd and 3rd off some questionable speeds, she might be in control of this thing turning into the stretch.
And really, to me, the question with a horse like Basilica is you go through and look, it's kind of the opposite of what we've seen from the horse just drawn to her inside the number 4, Ambicelli, where she's been facing much better horses. Basilica really has been making her hay in sort of that non-winners of 1 other than starter handicap level. I don't know if she's going to be able to get over the hump in the non-winners of 2 other than, but at the same time, you brought it up. She's been in tremendous form. Most recent race, she beat a next out winner with an 86 Beyer. So I mean, I think she fits in here very well. The question is, again, do you think she can handle that slight hike in class?
I wonder if Fuerza is just a little bit of a sleeper in here for Richard Baltas. This is a 5-year-old mare. She's only raced 10 times. It looked like Michael Matz had her going the right way towards the end of 2017, and then there was a long layoff. She's got 2 races back now for Baltas, who's adding blinkers. Maybe we'll see a little bit more speed. She is light on Beyer's speed figures. For me, she's the kind of horse I would want to fool around with underneath and single race exotics.
I'll be more interested in what you had said. If you add the blinkers and she gets back to some of those sort of running lines that she had when she was on the East Coast, if she's sitting 2 or 3 lengths off of it, as opposed to coming from 7 or 8 out of it. I don't like her as a deep closer, but if the blinkers can get her into the running a little bit earlier, I agree. I think she's a little bit interesting.
Let's take a look at our top picks for Friday's race of the day, kicking off the pick 4. I like the Tulip in here, the number 8. This is a mare that just got wired last time out, and the Tulip was last entering the far turn, and Julian Coutan, I guess, saw a hole that wasn't there because she took up pretty badly at about the 3/8 pole, and then she was ridden into a little bit of traffic at the quarter pole. Coutan got the rail run he wanted at the 3/16 pole, but by then the winner, Fahan Moura, the favorite, was long gone. I like the performance for the Tulip, and I also like the fact she's now back with Drayden Van Dyke, who was aboard for the last win, and that last win came in the 3rd start of the form cycle. The Tulip goes 3rd off the layoff one more time. From a distance standpoint, she won at 1.25 miles overseas. I am concerned about the pace. She needs at least a fair pace, but I think the Tulip's okay. If you believe the FIG and the eye test, she's a fit.
I think she might be the best horse in the race when you just break it down and look at the entire field. I do wonder, as far as the pace scenario is concerned, where I don't know that she's going to get that blistering one that she needs to help set her up. One other thing that was just a mild concern for me, I picked her 2nd, and I won't be surprised at all if she wins. I think the FIG for that non-winners of 2 other than that she most recently ran, and I think the FIG's a little bit high. Not overly high, but I think it could be 3 or 4 points, and perhaps that's the difference between, you know, running a low 90 is one thing, running an 84 or an 85, all of a sudden now we're in sort of contention range. That would be one of the only other things I would throw out there for people to take a look at.
Certainly a fair point. 8, 4, 6, 7 for me. My 3rd pick is your top play, the razor sharp Basilica, who's going to get the jump on the Tulip turning into the stretch.
Yeah, and for me, that's kind of what it is all about. She's in good form. She might not be talented enough to handle the hiking class and better horses, but I think that tactical ability is going to go a long way. I think the Tulip is the horse to beat, in my opinion, even more so than Ambicelli. So I'm going to go 6, 8, 4, and 2.
Basilica, Matt's top pick in race number 5, truly a 9-furlong specialist to date. You can bet this race. You can bet the pick 4. You can bet Santa Anita with your new DRF Bets account. It's very easy. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Get in on the Belmont Stakes action. Free cash is waiting for you. Approximate post time for race number 5 at the Great Race Place on Friday. Kicking off that late pick 4, 2:30 Pacific. Best of luck.